So I thought, why not have something like a little film club?
Brought a friend and we talked about it like for 2 days afterwards.
The movies that you pick, it sort of shows how philosophy, I mean, of course, is able to be applied to all sorts of things in life.
Yeah, I suspect within 20 or 30 years, someone will remake Harry Potter. I wouldn't be surprised.
So why did you actually start the Philosophy and Film Club?
Because it's something fun to do. So I thought, why not have something like a little film club? It's all free, it's open for everybody. Just come in and participate and then ask a couple questions about what the film is saying from a philosophical point of view.
I brought a friend and we talked about it like for 2 days afterwards.
Yeah?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, this was the film Detour that we
Yes.
watched. Okay. Was there something that really grabbed you about the film?
I like that, you watch it and I was like on the edge of my seat. I mean, the story was good, it was interesting.
But what I really like about it is that the movies that you pick, it sort of shows how philosophy, I mean, of course, is able to be applied to all sorts of things in life. Or you've got these things that are almost like parallel to what you'd consider a normal philosophical movie, but you're able to still extrapolate like so much philosophical information from it, which I think is like a really great facet of this.
Yeah, and I think that's an important notion of studying philosophy through films. It gives you an idea of how a particular idea can be represented in a variety of ways.
What's the best part about organizing this event?
I think it's the student reaction. People always react differently to a philosophical text, but films generate even more of that. You realize when you watch a movie that, especially if it's grounded on a novel, that you're watching someone's particular reading of it. When we were talking about The Lord of the Rings, right? If you had a different director, you would get a very different movie. Movies I just find are a really interesting communal type project.
And in some ways, it's almost like the real story of the movie is what happens as the credits roll, as opposed to the actual movie itself. It's just as the music is playing and these about 300, 500 names scroll by. That's the actual story of the movie.
Yeah, it is interesting to watch the credits because you do get an idea of how many people are on there, but it's an integral part of the construction of a film. A film that's coming up that we're going to watch is Blade Runner. But the interesting thing about Blade Runner is there's a very, very great book by a guy named Paul Salmon who wrote sort of all the complexities and the difficulties and antagonisms that went on while they made the movie Blade Runner. And that movie and the book on it, it shows all of this.
There's also, I guess, the question then of like, there's the book that based upon, there's the communal effort of making the movie, but then there's also the reception of the audience, which is another part of like the meaning making. So I mean, it's interesting how like the meaning is continuously being made.
What would the Lord of the Rings what would it have looked like had it been made like a full version in 1970 before there was a huge video game market? Maybe in the future, you might get a movie where the market has changed, that maybe somehow games look different, video games look different, or maybe if they're not as big of a driving force, when they remake these classics, as they probably will. Yeah, I suspect within 20 or 30 years, someone will remake Harry Potter. I wouldn't be surprised. Supposing that they do, they will be encountering a very different market. And